Hello everyone, it is Monday, June 8th, 2020, and we are entering week 13 of the pandemic response. Today, Virginia Tech President Tim Sands announced the university's plans for the fall semester and announced that VTC School of Medicine will phase in clinical and in-person instruction over the summer months. In the coming weeks, we will be communicating with you about how we will implement the re-entry of our students. The recent and tragic killings of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd have created tremendous anguish, anger, and sadness throughout our country, particularly among African American communities. These events, and similar ones before them, represent structural racism's violent impact on Black lives, an impact that is compounded by the heavy burden of serious illness and deaths from COVID-19 in African American communities. Protests, mostly peaceful, have been held in major cities across the country and in our own community to mobilize, stand up, and say enough is enough. On Friday afternoon, members of the healthcare community held gatherings and vigils called White Coats for Black Lives to raise awareness that racism is a threat to the health and well-being of people of color. Many local physicians, students, residents, and other healthcare workers participated in downtown Roanoke. Last Wednesday, over 150 members of our School of Medicine community gathered together in a virtual community forum to share perspectives on these recent events, to support our community and work together for positive change. I was joined by three panelists: N.L. Bishop, Senior Associate Dean for Diversity, Inclusion, and Student Vitality, Patricia Wooten, Human Resources Manager for the medical school, and a special guest, Dr. Frank Clark. Dr. Clark is a former VTC School of Medicine faculty member and Carilion physician who now practices in Greenville, South Carolina. He is an emerging national leader whose work draws attention to the impact of racism and health inequities on the African American community. The 90-minute forum began with statements from the panelists, followed by opportunities for students, faculty, and staff to express their thoughts and ask questions. To summarize a bit of the conversation, in today's video we will hear from panelists N.L. Bishop and Patricia Wooten, as well as rising second-year medical student Sarah Yosief. At the forum, Sarah and two fellow students presented a statement and a list of thoughtful recommendations for positive change within the medical school.
Hi, I'm N.L. Bishop, Senior Associate Dean for Diversity, Inclusion, and Student Vitality at the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. I was honored to be a panelist as Dean Learman arranged for our community to come together in a forum on Wednesday evening. I appreciated the opportunity for us to come together, learn, share, and listen to each other on this important topic of national and even international significance. I was humbled to be joined by my friend Dr. Frank Clark and Patricia Wooten, as together we shared our perspectives. The comments and questions showed an eagerness for this medical school to make a positive impact in the community of our school, in the community that surrounds us, and the nation, and be part of a change that needs to come. I look forward to working with students, faculty, staff, and Dean Learman and his leadership team to advance initiatives that help us to make a difference.
Good morning, VTCSOM. It is Monday morning, and here we are with another progress notes. I have been asked to talk about our revelations or reflection after last Wednesday's community conversations. First, I just want to thank all 155 of you who attended that session with us. I think that is a testament to us all wanting to get together and be a part of a solution and figure out a way to better the world that we're living in. So thank you all for joining, and thank you, Dean Learman, and our panelists for the insights that you shared with us. So we're on about day 13 or 14 of demonstrations across the country. And we're seeing many bold actions that were taken over the weekend and late last week by mayors in DC, by different organizations, Black Lives Matter. And I'm just really, really encouraged by the things that I've seen over the last week or so. Demonstrations are becoming more peaceful. It was great to see at Carilion and other healthcare organizations white coats for Black lives. I think that was a huge testament to our medical community. And if any of you participated in that, thank you. So I'm very, very encouraged by the progress that we're trying to make in the road that we're going down. There's still a lot of work to be done. I don't think this is ever going to be done. I think we will always work towards bettering the environments that we all operate in. I think I would like to get to a place personally where our positivity as a collective is more prevalent rather than negativity. I, personally took a break from social media this weekend. Just went out on the lake with my husband, and that was wonderful. We still had really, really deep conversations with our friends, good conversations on how do we get out here and educate folks, but not being bombarded by the negativity that we may see on social media, the news, etc. So that's one thing that I'll sort of leave you with if you're struggling with how do you get that negativity out of your everyday life. In regards to last Wednesday's session, I just want to mention that I am super proud of our medical students for sharing their thoughts, their feelings, their ideas on ways for us to act as a school. Being in human resources, I don't get to interact with our students on a daily basis, but I was impressed. I have shared with everyone in my family and everyone that I know that I thought that was just phenomenal, professional, and one of the best ways to get your point across and be able to share your insights. So thank you, students, for holding us accountable, transparently holding us accountable, and making sure that there are going to be some actions following this. I think community conversations, as Dean Learman said, was not a one-time deal. We will continue to have those conversations, and hopefully we'll have additional forums in the future for that. I think for us as people, a lot of questions that came in as I was moderating the session was in regards to, how do I strike up this conversation with someone that looks different than me? How, as a white person, do I go to my Black colleague and express my empathy, my compassion? How do I get educated? All of those questions were coming through in our chat. We didn't really get to touch on a lot of those because we were having great conversation. But over the weekend, actually, my father-in-law stopped by and gave me a book. One of the local churches in our town is going to be holding a book club. And I think this book will be a great starting point for those of you who are struggling to get educated, understand about racism in America, understand where the anger and angst comes from as a person of color in this country. And so this is the book. White Fragility, as you can see here. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism. I think this is a great start for anyone that's struggling with this concept, trying to figure out how do they talk about racism. And, if you've got friends that are also interested, start a book club, start a conversation about the chapters in this book. I think you'll get and gain a lot of knowledge from this. So this is my one piece that I'll leave you with to start that education for yourself. So in closing, I'll just say, I really, really think it's important for you to take care of your mental state, especially those of us people of color at this time. I know that there can be individuals that sort of fan the fire, if you will. And so it's really important that you find your community, find people that you can talk to, go to vent those frustrations in a positive manner. So take care of yourself. But also, I think it's really important for us to continue to focus on being compassionate, being passionate about justice in America, doing the things that we should be doing to make sure that we can find equality. And I also think it's, again, important for us to be held accountable for our actions, and for you all to continue to hold us accountable to make sure that we do act in the future and have equal workplaces, equal places of congregation, etc., those types of things. So I will just leave you with that. Those are my thoughts after last Wednesday, and I'm excited to continue this conversation. I am an individual that would welcome anyone to come and talk to me about their thoughts and their feelings. In my profession, there's a faction called diversity and inclusion, but please know, all of us at HR professionals, we are open. Our open door policy for anyone to voice their concerns and just be a listening ear. So again, thank you all for joining us last Wednesday, and have a great week. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Yosief and I'm a second-year medical student here at Virginia Tech Carilion. In the wake of the brutal killings of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd, America is confronting how its long history of racial injustice, treating Black bodies as the enemy from the beginning, continues to be present. It is imperative that each and every one of us addresses these wounds, especially those of us in medicine. Last week, the VTC community was able to come together for a forum to help find safety following these heinous, heart-wrenching acts. I'd like to thank Dean Learman for organizing the discussion, and our panelists, Dean Bishop, Dr. Frank Clark, and Patricia Wooten, as their perspectives and experiences were not only comforting, reminding us to take care of our own mental health, but also inspiring, fueling the community's passion to continue to work towards change, and enlightening, educating the community of how to best assess ourselves personally, as biases are present within all of us. Another takeaway from the community forum was that although we may be exhausted, as we have a long way to go, to have progressive change, we must have progressive leadership. We must all come together and support each other throughout this entire journey. Finally, I wanted to express the gratitude for the VTC administration committed to the well-being of their students. During the forum, with my classmates Chukwuemeka and Kenneth, we were able to share our actionable items that we worked so hard towards and are very proud of, that we believe are crucial for improving medical education. Our statement and items were received with overwhelming support and appreciation, for which we are also so grateful. We believe VTC can and should become more inclusive, supporting both students and faculty of color, and allow for greater understanding of racial disparities in order to narrow them, and how to limit implicit biases by teaching the social and structural causes of health inequality. As we move forward, we must not just work against disease, but also for justice, to create more culturally competent and sensitive practicing physicians. Thank you.
Thank you, NL, Patricia, and Sarah, for your participation in the forum. The thoughtful action steps suggested by our students will be discussed in the near future, and plans put in place to further understand and implement them. Thank you to the many other VTC School of Medicine students, residents, faculty, and staff who tuned in and participated with questions, comments, and follow-up after the event. While this forum was open only to our medical school community, we plan future conversations on different aspects of diversity and racial equity in the near future. These will be open to our larger community, and we hope you will join us. Until next week, take care, everyone.